Hello, on a freezing cold January morning here in England. I just thought I'd share my experiences with the Fender GTX 50. Really good amp. Features a lot of amps, a lot of effects, a lot of cabinet emulations, loads of stuff to go through. Really good sounding amp. I would say that when I first of all got it, I was a little bit underwhelmed initially. I think like a lot of people kind of go through the presets, and I found that I didn't really like a lot of the sounds in the presets, but I think you have to accept that they've been set up with a different guitar, different player, different room. So straight away I found myself creating a preset of my own and creating the sound from scratch, which I thought was 10 times better than any preset on the amp. So I'd suggest if anyone does buy one to either tweak the preset to how they like it, or just create one from scratch. One of the things I would say is that when I first of all got it, I wasn't massively impressed by the sound, but I think part of that is being that last time I went through a tube amp, which was a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, I believe, I found it to be quite brittle, but I'm not really used to the valve sound. So I think now the more I play it, the more I'm kind of relating it to more of the valve kind of sound, which is also a good thing as that's what it's trying to emulate. I'd say the 12-inch speaker sounds really good. Obviously the GTX 100 is more commonly bought than the 50 because of the value for money with the foot switch, but I managed to acquire this second hand. So overall I've been really happy with it. The fact that you've got 200 user slots in there that you can save, you know, any preset to them 200 slots is really good. The fact that you can tweak your sound and keep the EQ on that slot is really handy on a lot of previous amps that I've had. You can kind of get a really good sound with it, and then if you've not got the ability to save it, you've then got to EQ it all over again, so that can be quite time consuming. There's a lot of features on this. I'm going to go through a clip in a little while just with all the controls and the layout and how the LCD screen works, and all the features on the back panel as well. And then I'll do a separate video on the sounds, so enjoy. Here we've got the back of the GTX 50. You've got your power lead there with your on and off switch just above it. You've then got a foot switch input, USB for your computer, XLR out to go into a PA system or something like that live, and you've got line out and FX send and return for your effects loop. Really good feature of this amp, and you don't see a lot in this price range with that, so that's really good. Then you've got a 12-inch Celestion 7080 speaker, which is really good quality. There we go. Right, here's the top panel of the Mustang GTX 50. You've got your input, gain, volume, treble, middle, bass, reverb and master. Then over to the right here, you've got all your settings. Hopefully you can see that. So you've got the top column here. These are your column selectors. So you've got the top column on the screen corresponding there, middle column and the bottom column, which are all your adjustments. So the top column is your 200 presets that you can scroll through, just using this little thumb wheel here. If you want to select one, just press the middle button, and then your second column here is your effects chain. So there you've got a 65 twin with a 65 spring and a compressor. So say you want to adjust something on this signal chain, such as the amp, you'd select it with a thumb wheel like that. Then you go to the bottom column, and that's all your parameter adjustments. So say you want to adjust the gain, you'd adjust it by selecting it with a thumb wheel, left or right, Then you'd press the silver button in the middle to select the adjustment. You'd adjust it, so I want the gain right up. Then you press the middle of the thumb wheel again, and that will save. So again, volume, adjust, save. So you'd work your way along, treble, middle, bass, and then there's a bright switch on this one, so you press the middle button and turn that on or off, then the middle button to OK it. Then there's a second screen. On quite a lot of the amp models you've got a second screen to go through, and on this one you've got cabinets, so you can select the different cabinets. There's absolutely loads. There's your noise gate, which you can turn on or off or adjust it to your liking. And then the gate position, pre or post amp. Then you can adjust the sag, which is something that I found really useful. If you want the amp to be a bit more present, you can roll. A lot of them are on matched. If you go to less, I don't know why, it just seems to really sharpen the sound up and make it more sound in the room. So you do the same, select it with the middle of the wheel, go matched, more or less, and then press the middle button to select. So I want matched. Then you can move along another one and you get the tube bias, so you can go plus or minus on the tube bias also. So I want to adjust an effect now. I'll select the middle column again, move my way along to the spring reverb. You can bypass it, so if you press the middle of the encoder button on the actual effect there, you can bypass it, replace it, move it in the chain. We can add a different effects or delete it. So say I want that's bypassed, I'm going to unbypass that. So say I want to make an adjustment on the spring reverb, you'd select it with this middle column. So I'd go along, spring reverb, then to make adjustment, select the bottom column, and you go along, want more dwell, so I'd then turn it up. It's really very straightforward once you get the hang of it. It is a little bit overwhelming when you first, if you're not used to these kind of adjustments, it can be a bit overwhelming, but I think once you spend a little bit of time with it, it is actually quite quick to make adjustments. And then if you go, you've got buttons here like tap tempo, then you can click and hold it for tuner. There you go, nice colourful tuner. Then you've got the save button here and the FX button above it. So you want to adjust the global EQ, you press menu, and you've got set list, cloud presets, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, EQ and amp settings, which you'd select EQ and amp settings for the global EQ, foot switch and tuner. So you can go EQ and amp settings, middle button to select. Then you've got your global EQ. Then you've got line out, USB gain, preset organizer, so you can obviously organize your presets for a set list. Restore settings, restore all about this amp, which is your software version. If you go to global EQ, you've got from the top, you've got bright cut, flat EQ, guitar focus 1, guitar focus 2, bright boost 1, bright boost 2, low cut 1, low cut 2, and bass boost. So you've got a lot of options there. I've tried quite a lot of these, and I think once you settle with one, you kind of stick with it, because if you change your global EQ, that is going to change the overall sound of all your presets. So say you're finding it a bit bassy or a bit trebly, you'd go through here and just see which one suits the sound you would like, really. I think guitar focus 1 and 2 are really good, especially for live playing, because I think they're very trebly and kind of present sounding. But I'm pretty sure when you buy it, it's just set on flat EQ. But I'm fairly sure on flat EQ, if you just EQ in and dial in what you'd like the sound of, you can get any of those sounds really. So That is quite a handy feature though to have if you're using it at lower volumes and you want a bit more bass. You can go with the bass boost. You know, really good feature. There we go. So there we have it, the Fender GTX 50. Hopefully someone out there has found this useful with the controls and the layout, etc. If you've got any more questions, please just drop it in the comment section below this video. Please like and subscribe, it will really help me out, and everyone stay safe. Thank you and goodbye.